Good morning. So today I am speaking about surrender. It's not something that I speak about often because I don't like it. Because most of the time, surrender looks like that. It's a torn up white flag that's dirty and probably has some blood on it, and whoever raised that flag is not in a space that I like to be in. There's a feeling of being defeated, a feeling of having failed, maybe even a feeling of being punished. And so the surrender that I want to talk about today is not that kind of surrender. It's not failure. It's not defeat. It's not punishment. I want to talk about a different kind of surrender, but it may be a little difficult to get to when we're still hanging out in this mindset. When we come into this teaching, we have an opportunity to look at our lives and to take control of our lives and to experience things that maybe we hadn't experienced before, like prosperity and health and joy and happiness. And to me, that's a very big draw, and it always has been. I want you to know that I had the pleasure this week of listening to an old cassette tape that I found. And I've had it for a while because when Jill Gailey moved here from Pennsylvania and finally got around to unpacking her stuff, she said, "Hey, Barbara, do you want this CD?" See, it was 33 years ago that I was the minister at the Miami Church of Religious Science, and Jill Rhoda, now Jill Gailey, was my student. And she thought that I was just so amazingly eloquent that day that she bought that CD and held on to it for 33 years. And so she gave it to me and asked me if I wanted it. I said, sure, I'm all about me. The thing is I didn't have a tape player. And it was Friday that I realized one of the CD players up in the offices had a cassette thing in it. And I put it in there, and I heard this young girl's voice come out. I was 33 years old. I was the minister of the Miami Church of Religious Science. And I was talking about some things that today made me stop and think. Because one of the things that I said to myself as I was listening to myself was the dichotomy of this teaching is that we are in absolute control of everything in our lives because it is our thought that is manifesting the experiences in our lives. And on the other side, we don't have any control. And I went, "What are you talking about?" And I started to think about that on the one hand, we are creating our lives magnificently. And on the other hand, we are absolutely going with a beam of light and a ray of love wherever it takes us. And so on a conscious level, we know that if we think a thought, if we name it, we're going to claim it. If we know it, we're going to grow it, that we can take our lives, which for most of us started off as life happening to us, and then we came into this teaching and learned that we can happen to life, that we can manifest things, we can demonstrate things, we can heal things, we can change circumstances in our lives. And for me, that was a lifeline. Because when I walked into this teaching, I was homeless, on welfare, taking care of my son's dietary needs with food stamps, and sleeping on someone's floor. And so I learned that if I just think a thought over and over and over again, if I work on myself and get to where I believe what I'm saying, that I can create that in my life. And I went gung-ho on it. I absolutely embraced it. I had little index cards with affirmations taped up all over my house. I had recordings. They were probably CD record or a cassette tape recordings that I would play at night in my own voice of affirmations to get into my subconscious. And sure enough, I started demonstrating things. I demonstrated a place to live. I demonstrated a job. I demonstrated a car. I demonstrated all kinds of things. But you know, there's that point of spiritual maturity where it stops being about the demonstration of things. And I'm all about demonstrating things, because if you don't have enough things, then you're caught up in the lack of things. And in order to move beyond that, we have to demonstrate the things. It's like I have a lot of trouble telling someone that they're an individualized manifestation of God itself in form as them, perfect, whole, and complete, if they don't have any money, if they don't have any groceries, if they're worried about getting kicked out of where they live. I have trouble getting that higher message to people when they're trying to deal with their security issues. So my job is to teach people how to manifest and how to demonstrate, but not for the end-all, be-all of demonstration. It's to move on. And I notice that once we're not terribly uncomfortable, we get quite attached to the way our life is. And so we've got enough money, we can function in life, things are not so awful, and now you want me to move into something else. Well, why in the world would I do that? And so we hold on. And when we start looking at surrender in that point, it looks like that. It looks like I've had to fight for everything I have in this life, and I'm not giving up without another fight. I'm not just going to let go of my newly created prosperity, of this job that pays me enough to barely get by, although I really can't stand it, of this relationship that's only mildly abusive in my life. I'm not going to let go of that. No, I got to hold on. I got to fight to the end. And so we start learning about spiritual surrender. And in this teaching, there are aspects of consciousness, levels of consciousness, if you would. There's the idea that life is happening to me. There's the idea that life is happening by me, that I'm creating my experience. But then we move into this idea that life is happening through me. And eventually, maybe some of us will get to where life is happening by me. As me. But the jump from by me to through me is really important. Because for us to let go of this conscious control of our lives, that I know that I can find keys. People call me all the time, Barbara, treat for my keys. I can't find them. Before they even get the words out of their mouth, they got, oh, here it is. I can find anything. I can do that. Whether it's a good idea or not, I can do it. Maybe they needed to lose their keys and not be on the road at that moment. But no, I charged forward and manifested their keys for them. Whether it's a good idea or not, I can do that. And then there's this step that we take where we have a greater trust in the out-picturing of life. That everything is unfolding for my highest and best. Only good can come from this. All is well. We have this sense that we are now in a vibrational alignment with our greater yet to be. And as we are aligned with that in consciousness, it has to open up for us. It has to open up and welcome us into our future, which as a higher vibration, a higher consciousness, we are going to experience greater love, greater joy, greater prosperity, greater happiness, greater wholeness. We have to. And we do it not by making it happen, but by letting it happen. Or as Abraham would say, by allowing it to be experienced in our lives. Instead of going through the conscious creation process like a bull in a china shop, whatever it is, or I like the Star Wars, you've got your lightsaber going and you don't know what you're doing and you're just whacking things in pieces everywhere because you're not conscious enough yet to handle it. Instead of doing that, we rise up in consciousness and we know that only good is happening here. That this is a blessing in disguise. It may be a cake half baked, but there's a cake in there somewhere. And all we have to do is stay in alignment with that knowing, and it shows up. I think some of the best growth opportunities in my life have been when I haven't known what was going to happen. I just knew that I had to let go of what was already happening. And so I think that we go from this kind of an idea of surrender to that kind of an idea of surrender. That maybe we have fulfilled our purpose, our cycle at this stage of our lives. That maybe this thing happened for a reason or a season, but not a lifetime. And I know I can put a number of marriages onto that list. And that it was time to let go and to trust that whatever we are goes out to fulfill its purpose, which in the case of the dandelion is to let go of its seeds and let them blow in the air, and perhaps one will take hold. Or maybe, as we're growing spiritually, we realize that it's our need to control that keeps us holding on. Because we think that if we can control everything, then we don't have to have that period of time when we don't know what's going to happen. We don't have to develop trust and faith. We can just control everything. Controlling everything is exhausting, though. And so when we try to control everything, then we get very tired, we get cranky, and we limit the amount of good that we can have in our lives. Because we can only have as much good as we can think of. Ernest tells us that. Except as we open up to infinite possibilities of greater amounts of good that we haven't even thought of yet, we open up to accept that level of prosperity, of health, of wholeness, of joy in our lives. And so we want to continue to get comfortable with letting go, with surrendering. And what do we surrender? We surrender our need to control. We surrender our fear. We surrender our smallness to open up to that greater something. And as we get good at surrendering, some pretty cool things happen. Because at some stage in our life, over and over again, we're crawling around like a bug. We're eating like crazy. We know that the time is limited and that we have to consume as much as we possibly can. We don't have any idea why, but we know that that's where we are, that that's our path. And as we get really, really fat on leaves and whatever else caterpillars eat, all of a sudden something starts whispering that our time as a caterpillar is coming to a close. And the interesting thing is that caterpillars have no idea that they are related to butterflies. They don't know that that butterfly is their brother or their sister, their mother, their father, whatever. It's a completely different species, not in their consciousness, not there at all. And yet something happens that is irresistible. And I know we can resist all we want. God knows I've spent years resisting change, holding on, digging my feet in, fighting tooth and nail. That Miami Church of Religious Science that I was the minister of, I was removed from. My last membership meeting had my attorney on one side and a hired parliamentarian on the other. I was fighting tooth and nail. And for what? To not have you? To not have you? That's crazy. I just didn't know. And because I didn't know, I knew that I had to hold on to what I had because I didn't know what was coming. And I would imagine that little caterpillar over on the left has no idea that a butterfly is coming or that it will be asked by the cycles of life to let go of everything that it has ever known, everything that it defines itself to be, to let go of the actual cells in its body, and to become the cosmic goo, filled with imaginal cells. These are biological terms, cosmic goo and imaginal cells. And haven't you felt like that? That you had to let it go, that it's in the past, that times are changing, and that we have to let go of the way that we thought things were going to be and embrace the new. And yet sometimes we go back and we get a little more blood and a little more dirt on that white flag. I'm not waving that flag. And then something calls to us, and it all makes perfect sense. That no matter whether or not we don't have a clue about what the future holds, we don't have any guarantees, we don't even have a plan, but we're going to let go. We're going to let go of fighting. We're going to let go of our need to control, and we're going to let go of what we thought would be. Because we know deep inside of us that something greater is here. We haven't seen it. We haven't experienced it, but we know. I remember when I was a kid, I knew there was something else I was supposed to be. I knew I was not supposed to be poor. I was not supposed to be sad. I was not supposed to be dirty. I was not supposed to be the kid that wasn't allowed in the neighbor's yard. I wasn't supposed to be that, but I had no idea how to be who I knew I was supposed to be at some level. And so when I found this teaching at the young age of 24, I grabbed hold of it. Because if there is anything that I can do to have my life be the way that I want it to be, I will do it. I will come to classes, I will read books, I will listen to tapes, I will do affirmations, I will do anything to have my life get better. But my idea of better over the years has grown. It's shifted. It goes from having a full tank of gas to having a $100 bill to having peace and having a sense of self, and that's what I want in life, and that I know that everything else will follow. I know that the stream bank is already repaired, the driveway is already built, everything has already happened. I don't have to worry about that. What I need to continue to do is to look at what I am holding on to that is less than who I truly am. And then I have to be willing to let that go, even if it means that I'm going into some kind of a death. The caterpillar dies to its caterpillarness in order to emerge as the butterfly. And we have to die to our smallness. We have to die to our fear, or let our fear die. We have to let our control issues die. We have to let our judgments die. We have to let all of that die so that something else can be birthed within us. And I believe that this is true spiritual growth. Not whether or not you can reach out your hand and grab money, and we teach you how to do that in prosperity class because I don't have your attention if you don't have enough money. So we teach you how to do that, but that's not the real spiritual growth. Real spiritual growth is becoming and actualizing who you truly are. That you are God in form. You are not your personality. You're not your ego. Nothing wrong with personality and ego. We need them. But that is not who you are. You have feelings, but you're not your feelings. You have thoughts, but you're not your thoughts. You are something greater. You are the individualized expression of God itself. You come from the light. You are the light. You come from love. You are love. That is the only truth about you. And everything else is just our journey to get there. And then there even comes a time when we have to let go of the idea that we're a butterfly. But I like being a butterfly. I let go of all that caterpillar stuff, and now I'm a butterfly. See, I'm a butterfly. And then we have to let go of that. Because the truth is that we are light, and we are love, and we are spirit. And that we have a body, but we are not our body. We are not our past. We are not our story. We are not our stuff. We are the vibration of life in form as us. That's the truth of us. That's the truth of each and every one of us. And as we open to that, as we embrace that, as we look at that, then anything is possible, because we're no longer tied to physical form. We bring ourselves into vibrational alignment with the presence of the divine in us, as us, is us now. And we know that that presence of spirit manifests everything out of itself, and so all we do is know that all is well. We know that everything is taken care of, everything is handled, and then it is. And you know, I know I'm good at what I do, but when I listen to myself at half my age, 33 years old, 1986, explaining this to people that were twice my age, I've got to think that there's something that came in with me, that there is something that I came in as, and it just didn't get squashed out. And so I want to remind you that there is that knowing that came in with you, that you came in as. And if you give it half a chance, it'll let you live the life of your dreams that goes beyond anything you might ever imagine. And so it is. Hi, I'm Barbara Waterhouse.
And I'm John Waterhouse. Thank you for watching this message today.
Through our website, cslasheville.org, we have over 1,000 messages, classes, and New Thought books, all to download at no charge to anyone.
Producing this incredibly valuable collection of ideas is really making a difference in the world. It's changing lives everywhere.
Please go to our website, cslasheville.org, and click the Donate button. You can support this life-changing ministry, and when you do, we'll send you a note of thanks and also put you on our daily prayers.
By doing this, you're helping to raise the consciousness of people across the entire globe. We're changing lives together, those lives that are being more prosperous, more healthy, and more joyous. Thank you for being a part of this important work and supporting what we do here at CSL Asheville.
Thank you.